Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and today we are going to be talking about what is probably the time for the next big Nintendo Direct. And no, I am not talking about the Twitter Direct we just discussed yesterday, and also no, I am not talking about the Mario Galaxy Movie Direct we're getting this Sunday. Now, these will be talking points in this overall conversation, but I am talking about the big general direct that we are expecting, that we've been theorizing about, that there have been rumors about in the month of February. When is it going to happen? What week? What day? Well, that's what we're getting into today. Now, before going forward, if you find yourself enjoying my videos and you haven't subscribed already, I would very much appreciate your subscription. But getting into things here, yesterday, I put out a video talking about the Nintendo Twitter Direct. In other words, when we get a Nintendo Twitter Direct, and I say that in quotes, it basically just means on Twitter, or X as it's officially called, Nintendo puts out a series of announcements in quick succession, the kind of announcements you might see in a Nintendo Direct. Hence why we call it a Nintendo Twitter Direct. And we did get that yesterday. We got an announcement for an update to Mario Kart World, where now they've added teams to Knockout Tour. We got a huge 5+ minute trailer for the Switch 2 edition for Super Mario Bros. Wonder, showcasing a variety of new modes and a new character in Rosalina. We also got a new trailer for the Mario Wonder Flower, showcasing new voice lines and how it works. We even got a teaser for another Mario Kart Lego set, and earlier this week, we got a big free update for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Also, by the way, we got confirmation that there's going to be a Pokemon experience in collaboration with Universal Studios. And so we go into detail on all that and more in yesterday's video, but the overall consensus from all this stuff is that Nintendo is clearing the slate, putting out a lot of the minor things, so there's more space for more significant announcements in the general Nintendo Direct. Some people even argued that perhaps we're getting a lot of Mario stuff out now, which pretty much everything I just discussed there outside of the Pokemon thing is Mario universe related, because this Direct, as we've heard from friend of the channel Nintentalk, who has shown to have a pretty darn good track record when it comes to what he's heard regarding Nintendo Directs, is going to have to do with anniversaries. And if you connect the dots and through the process of elimination, that would lead you to think that Zelda, at least as far as Nintendo things go, would be playing a role here with its 40th anniversary. So if Nintendo clears the slate for Mario anniversary stuff now, so there's not as much trickle over into this next Direct, then that would leave Zelda to take the spotlight in this upcoming presentation. And it is also perhaps a sign that we are closing in on a Direct presentation by clearing out all these announcements now before the end of January as we enter February, which is technically, officially, the anniversary month for The Legend of Zelda, where, yes, we'll be celebrating the 40th anniversary. And today, it appears that Nintendo has continued with clearing the slate here because we got another significant announcement having to do with Mario. Join us on Sunday, January 25th at 6 AM Pacific Time for the Nintendo Direct featuring an exclusive look at the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Please note that no game information will be included in this presentation. That part is obvious, but unfortunately, people always jump to conclusions even though it specifically says a movie direct. Now, yeah, we're gonna get another trailer for the Mario movie direct, and they're probably going to reveal another character. Who's this character going to be? I speculate, theorize, think it's probably very likely at least going to be Yoshi. Yoshi is very likely to have a significant role in this movie. After all, they did use a hatching Yoshi egg at the end of the first Mario movie to tease this Mario movie. Not to mention that Chris Pratt has hinted at a couple more characters that haven't been revealed yet that are pretty significant in this movie. Also, Yoshi does play a significant role in Mario Galaxy 2. We think the reason why they saved Mario Galaxy 2 all this time was for the Mario Galaxy movie and also to showcase Yoshi, who's going to play a significant role in the movie, who, by the way, is also featured in Mario Wonder, which they're putting out a Switch 2 edition for, and he's even getting his own game in Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, which is coming out this spring, around the same time of the movie. So yeah, Yoshi's going to be playing a significant role here. We'll probably see more on that But we're not talking about the Mario Galaxy Movie Direct here. We're talking about the next big direct. Well, this information is relevant because we predicted exactly this would happen. That there would be a Mario Galaxy Movie Direct in January towards the end before we get the big general in February. And this theory came to be in part because of something we heard from Nash Weedle, who, yes, most of his leaks have proven to be correct, 90+%. It's more accurate than a lot of other leakers out there, even though some people refuse to believe this person for whatever reason. They did say earlier this year, New Year and the Nintendo Direct rumors begin January, February. As far as I know, there's something before the general direct. Winky face. And from this, I extrapolated that there's going to be a Mario Galaxy Movie Direct, the little thing in January before the general in February, which we got more clarity on a little bit later and has now been confirmed. But when in February are we going to get this supposed general Nintendo Direct? Well, let's start going through a process of elimination. As it turns out, this year there are only 4 full weeks in the month, so if we're just talking about predicting the week, well, just guessing one random week gives you a 25% chance of being correct here. However, we can eliminate some things. The very last week of February probably will not have a general Nintendo Direct, because on February 27th, at the end of the week, they are celebrating Pokemon Day, and there will almost certainly be a Pokemon Presents where they will reveal the 10th generation of Pokemon. So that's probably going to be the focus of the week. There's probably going to be a lot of stuff building up to that throughout the week, celebrating the 30th anniversary, a big marketing campaign from Pokemon Company. So that one is pretty easy to eliminate. Now, technically, I guess you can't rule it out entirely because Nintendo could always have a Nintendo Direct on Wednesday and then 2 days later have a Pokemon Presents, but usually these things happen in the separate weeks. So probably not this final week of the month, leaving us 3 more. But the second week of the month has the release for Mario Tennis Fever. It releases on February 12th. And usually, Nintendo puts out their directs in weeks when there is not a major game release from them. So I would say we should also probably eliminate this week. Again, still possible they could have the direct happen early in the week, but I would say it's unlikely. Which leaves us the first full week of the month and the second full week of the month. And something else I'll point out, we are getting the 9-month earnings release on February 3rd. Now, Japan is hours ahead of us, right? A little bit over half a day. But basically what this means is that usually we get big direct announcements after the earnings release. So it would have to be after February 3rd, basically what I'm saying here. But there's still plenty of time in the first week, so technically something could still happen in this first week. But there is also this whole week right here, and you might think that this whole week, the 3rd week of February, makes a lot of sense. And I would say that it makes more sense than the 2nd or 4th week, but I also think it would be a little weird to have a big general Nintendo Direct immediately after the release of a game like Mario Tennis Fever, where they could have had Mario Tennis Fever get another moment of spotlight in the direct presentation to market it a little bit more so it can sell a little bit more. So I would actually argue that if we are getting a direct in February, the week that makes the most sense is the 1st week of February. But if somehow this does not end up being the case, that 3rd week is probably my next big bet. But also because of the earnings release, we're probably not getting the direct on Monday or Tuesday, and usually directs happen on Wednesdays or Thursdays, sometimes Fridays. The last September direct happened on a Friday, but if we're talking about likelihoods here, the 2 dates that make the most sense are Wednesday and Thursday. Now, something else interesting just happened. Friend of the channel, Attack the Backlog, just added Nash Weedle, who he does a lot of podcasts with, and he's asking, what are you doing the 1st week of February? And Nash responds, I've got a real mess going on. Podcast, reactions, and does the whole emoji thing covering his mouth, suggesting that they know something. Now, Attack the Backlog, if for whatever reason you don't want to trust Nash Weedle, despite the clear history where most of their leaks have proven correct, like literally we just talked about the Mario Galaxy movie stuff, which aligns with what he suggested earlier in the month. And then there's also the recent new trailer for the Mario Wonder Flower, which had a whole bunch of new voice lines, which Natch Weedle leaked before the Mario Wonder Flower was even announced back in September. And those are just a couple things that were just kind of showcased this recent week. But assuming you just want to ignore that person, Attack the Backlog has a 100% spot-on track record so far from their source in terms of Nintendo Direct stuff, and they are also here teasing that the first week of February is when apparently we are going to be getting a Nintendo Direct. Now, there have been dates circulating. I've seen the 5th come up a few times on different feeds and such, and I would say that the 5th does kind of feel right. Still could happen on the 4th, still could happen on the 6th, but I would say this is our window here. This is when we're going to be getting the general Nintendo Direct of February 2026 between the 4th and the 6th, but my heart says the 5th. We'll see what actually happens though. This is just what I think will probably happen. Of course, we should also take into consideration that while this may be what makes the most sense, this may be what people are teasing or rumoring, we have seen multiple times in the past where a Nintendo Direct has been delayed or postponed due to unforeseen circumstances, like some sort of a global catastrophe. So obviously we hope that does not happen, because why would we want a catastrophe to occur? That's terrible for people, right? But just keep that in mind, that nothing is set in stone until it's about to happen. But with this in mind, a Nintendo Direct happening in the first week of February, I actually find that to be very interesting, because that's pretty early on into the year. Looking at history here, in 2025, we had to wait until the end of March, but we got a Nintendo Direct sandwich, because then they had this big March 27th Direct, and right after they had the April 2nd Direct revealing the Switch 2 and all that good stuff. But then going into 2024, we didn't get the earlier Nintendo Direct until, well, 2024 kind of sucked, so we got a partner showcase in the latter half of February, so yeah, later into February. Looking at 2023, well, this one was relatively early, February 8th. What we're talking about now would be even earlier, but I'll say 2023 was a pretty big year. We got Metroid Prime Remastered, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, Future Redeemed as the expansion to Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Tears of the Kingdom, Pikmin 4, and then later in the summer they revealed Mario Wonder. It was a wonder of a year. 2023 was the last really good year of Switch 1. In 2022, also a very good year, February 9th. In 2021, February 17th. And so, overall point here is that if we do get this Direct in the first week of February, this is going to be the earliest February Direct in a long time. So, this is going to be one of the earlier Directs we've gotten, and I do think that comes with an implication that Nintendo has a great deal to announce, a great deal they want to get out there ahead of time, suggesting a very big, exciting year for us. Now, one more counterpoint I will put out there for the first week of February is that if we are going to be getting a Direct where they want to focus on really celebrating Zelda's 40th anniversary, technically the anniversary is on February 21st, which would have us in the third week of February, but that's on a Saturday. Also, they usually don't put these Directs exactly on these anniversary dates, and also I don't think this Direct is going to be just about The Legend of Zelda, and also I'm not expecting all the 40th anniversary stuff for Zelda to happen so early on to the year. I think some stuff, I think we'll clearly see some intent from Nintendo about it, but I do think there's going to be more throughout the year. And so I don't think that this is a good sign, even though sometimes we get weekend Directs like with this Mario Galaxy movie stuff. The big general stuff always happens in the actual business week. So still, the 4th through the 6th I think is the most likely, but what do you all think? When do you think the big general Direct is going to happen? Is it going to be sometime in February, and if so, when exactly? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I will see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.